Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Investor More, and we're back with another real estate video. Today, we're talking about the housing market. A lot of news out there about listings up, sales down, the market cooling down, and we're going to look at some of those statistics. And I'm going to look at statistics in my specific market here in Greeley, Colorado, northern Colorado, and see if that's true here. I am a real estate broker, so I have access to MLS information, data, where I can show you exactly how many listings we have and compare them to other time periods as well to see if we're seeing a jump in listings, what's really happening. We can check prices, see all kinds of other really cool information in my MLS system. So as you can see, there's lots of scary articles out there, lots of people predicting the housing market will crash or slow down because rates have increased, and a lot of people already predicting a crash has started or that prices have dropped. Is that really happening? We'll look at my local market, and we'll take a look at some national trends here too, but it's kind of tricky to see national trends because there's all kinds of different data going on. It takes sometimes months to see what's actually happening, and some of my data is a little more current, but it's just my local market. So of course we love the likes, shares, comments. Keep all those coming. Love seeing new subscribers. And we have lots and lots of information on investormore.com as well. Free articles on investing. I've got 12 flips going on that are multifamily, commercial, residential. Have 30-some rental properties I show on my channel as well. And have lots of different stuff going on. The liquor store's doing great. The mini mart's doing great. The bar's doing great for all the people asking about those too. So things are busy around here for some reason. I don't know why. All right. So I wanted to start off with this kind of article because I see lots of these on Facebook. Home listings suddenly jump as sellers worry they may miss out on the red housing market. And you see this over and over again. And when you actually read these articles, that's where you get to see what's actually happening. Headlines, I see so many people commenting on headlines and they don't read the articles. And the media's job is to get as much attention as possible. That's literally what their job is. The more attention they get, the more people who talk about it, the more people who share it, the more money they make. So they try to make things as dramatic as they can. But you really need to look into these articles to see what they're actually saying. And you read these key points literally, right below the headline. The supply of homes, for sale jumped 9% last week compared with the same week 1 year ago. 9%. That's a little bit. Not a lot. It's a little bit. They report new listings rose nearly twice as fast in the 4 weeks ended May 15th as they did during the same time period a year ago. So new listings coming on the market, rose twice as fast as last year. Pending home sales, a measure of signed contracts on existing homes, dropped nearly 4% in April, month to month, and were down just over 9% from April 2021. So that means the number of houses going under contract dropped. 4%. That's kind of a lot, but not really when we're talking about the housing market. So these things can be scary. People can see them. Everyone keeps talking about how the market's slowing down and there's more listings coming up for sale. And it can be scary and people can be scared. Oh my God, the housing market's crashing. Do I need to sell now? What's happening? But what we really need to do is look at the actual data. And something that's very interesting too is here, April sales of newly built homes dropped 16%. And that's sales. That's not prices. None of this is about prices. So it's good to realize that sales does not mean prices. A lot of people confuse, sales are down 20%. Sales are down 10%. Sales are the number of houses being sold. That's not prices. So if the number of houses being sold goes down, that could be a couple of things. One, it could be there's less demand, less people want to buy. Or it could be there's less inventory and there's less houses to buy. There's two different ways to look at it. So you need to make sure you get all the data to figure this out. And this is about interest rates, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, here's what I want to look at is my data that I have in my area. And I'm just peeking up here to make sure I have the right data. Okay, here we go. This is for Greeley, Colorado, where I'm at. And hopefully my face isn't blocking all this. Let me check on that real quick. I think we're okay. Okay. So these are the number of new listings over the last 5 years. That might be blocked behind my face there. So this shows us how many new listings there are. I think it's either per week, per month in this area. So you can see from 2017, it goes up and down significantly, right? This is December, every year the number of new listings drops significantly and rises in the summer. That's how it works here. And that's usually how it works nationally. So when we see these big drops and rises in inventory and decreases, it's important to know that that happens all the time in every single year. It's not something new. Now, in 2021, we saw a big jump in July, actually, of properties being listed. And then you can see we didn't have quite as big a decrease and then another jump. So there have been more houses listed in the last year. But really, it isn't a recent jump. It's been a whole last year jump. So it wasn't like interest rates suddenly caused things to change significantly. It really just continued the trend we have had. But just new listings isn't, the whole story. We can also look at the number of homes for sale right here. And this tells us what's actually on the market, what's for sale. And you can see we go back to 2017, 109, we jump to 191 in September, we go down to 111 in February, we jump to 214 in September, we drop to 154, we go to 227, we drop to 109, 204. You can see it's very fluctuating. And then something happened. COVID happened, and people just, there wasn't a huge drop in listings. People started buying houses like crazy. And kind of interesting. I don't know if it's the money they're getting from the government, but people started buying houses. Look at this, 64 houses for sale in March 2021. And we saw this trend all over the country, right? It's not just Greeley. I just want to show this because this data is so cool. But basically, the entire country was pretty much following this trend. And we can show you some of those charts here too, national charts that back me up on that. But look at that, almost 50% less than the previous lows. And this was a really good real estate market with prices going up during this time. We can show you that here too. And again, stayed very low. Then in the spring and summer, which is what usually happens, as you can see on this chart, prices jumped up, or not prices, sorry, number of houses for sale. See, even I'm doing it, jumped up close to 150. Again, way below what we normally have. Went up to here and then dropped back down again in January 2022. Here we have 118 houses for sale in May. And if we look at other Mays, let's see, where's May of 73. So we do have more houses for sale now than we had last year. But a lot of people are comparing now to last year. That's what you typically do, year over year. You see what the percentages are, the number of listings. Last year was crazy, right? 2021 was just insane. And I want to show you the national numbers here too. Okay, so it's really hard to find this data. It's very annoying finding existing homes for sale because a lot of people use new construction numbers, which are way off because if it takes a year to build a house, that house counts as inventory for that whole year. So you have to find existing homes for sale. And this is a chart, but it doesn't quite include all the data, but some of it. So you can see here, there were 2,200,000 homes in inventory in 1999, stayed around 2 to 3 million, saw a massive jump that kind of helped cause the housing crash, got up to 4 million. I've seen some that showed over 5 million houses for sale, depends on what you look. You can see that slowly dropped back down to the, let me get that off there, kind of normal inventory here, but this is where we saw prices increasing quite a bit, right? Prices were increasing quite a bit here as well. Prices increasing quite a bit here too, around 2 million. And then look at this, boom, dropped down to 1 million in 2020, stayed in that number, got below 1 million in 2021, and we are still very, very low right now as far as what listings are, and we can show you that here in just a second, but there are almost no properties for sale still. We'd have to increase the listings by more than double to get to even normal, not 6% or 4%. And then this is this is the number of houses National Association of Realtors estimated that needed to be built to get to 6 months of monthly demand. And that's what they figure is normal, 6 months of demand. We're routinely below 1 month of demand right now. And here's Fred. I wish Fred went back farther with this data. It only goes back to 2021, but it kind of leaves off where we were before. So you can see in the spring, it went up a little bit to 1.3, and then boom, nosedived below 1,850,000, and then went up over 1 million now. So still, April of 2021 was 1,150,000 houses listed. We're still below last year, and last year was crazy low. So this huge increase in listings that we're seeing, or we're hearing about, isn't really happening. A lot of these people are saying, well, week over week listings are increasing. That means if there were 100 new listings this week last year, there's 109 listings this year, right? But we need like an incredible amount of new listings to actually make a difference and change how these trends look. So here's what's happening here, and you can see, yes, we have itsy bitsy increases in listings. Compared to last year, we do have an increase, but last year was crazy. If we go back to, even 2020, which was also crazy, in May, we had 204 houses listed for sale here. Now we have 118. If we go to May in 2019, 167. We go to May in 2018, 168. You can see this trend, and this is when we had an increasing, solid real estate market, and we're still way below that. We need so many more listings to get hit normal. It's not even funny. Now we can also look at some other data on here, which is cool. Houses under contract is increasing. So people are saying sales are down, nobody's buying houses, everybody's scared. Well, technically right now in my area, we have, what was that? The most houses under contract in the last 5 years that we've ever had. People are still buying houses. Closed sales, you can see that's the most we've had in the last 5 years was in April. May is down a little bit, but again, if we go into May of last year, we still sold more houses than last year. If we go to May, sold way more than 2020, we're still selling more houses. Days on the market is interesting. You can see 17, it was 60 days, that dropped. COVID hit, it dropped even lower, dropped way down. It's still very low for days on market. That is not changing. Months supply of houses, again, we just saw a normal market is supposed to have 6 months supply of houses, right? We've been below 1.5 for 5 years. Dropped below, look at that, 0.4 months for a while. And now we're at 0.7. Still, like we need so many more listings to get to a normal market, let alone a decreasing market. And this is interesting too. This is sales price. Median sales price in Greeley, $250. It has steadily increased until 2022. It really jumped. Again, it's still going up. Prices are still going up. And most of these articles you read, if you read the article, not the headline, they'll say sales are down, but prices are still going up. Right? Prices are still going up. Prices aren't based on the number of sales. They're based on supply and demand. If there's not as many houses for sale and people still want to buy them, prices can still keep going up. And then this is interesting too. Price as a percent of original list price. So this means, right, people are paying 100% of list price, went up, went down some, went down a little bit, up, went down a little bit. Boom, people are paying 104% of list price. Then that dropped down a little bit, dropped down, went back to normal. Boom, jumped back up again. People are still paying way over list price in our area. If the market is slowing down, even a little bit, people usually don't pay over list price. That just doesn't happen. Dollar volume keeps increasing because prices keep increasing. Price to square foot keeps increasing quite a bit. Shows to pending, how many showings there are per each property. That's kind of a crazy time. Interesting. Now, we can see some other stuff that's even cooler. I went back 5 years. Now I'm going back to when they started collecting this data in 2012, right after the housing crash, right? Median price was $125,500 here. Now we're at $450,000. It's been crazy here, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing, look at the month's supply. All right, this is 2012. We saw how prices were increasing. Here, let me go back to this again. You can see this, right? Prices were steadily increasing this whole time, and actually pretty quickly. It looks steady here, but that's a pretty big increase, right? Even at 4 months supply, 3 months supply, 2 months supply, we had increasing prices. Now we're at less than 1. I just don't see how prices are supposed to decrease or change, go down at all, if we're below a 1 month supply of houses. That just seems insane to me when at 4 months supply, 4 times, like 5 or 6 times higher than we are now, they were still increasing. Days on market, same thing. Look at this. 120 days on the market, 80 days on market, prices were still increasing. Now we're down here at 30. Closed sales, this is just a number. You can see that's been pretty steady this whole time. Homes for sale. Again, look at this. Prices were increasing here when we had 300, almost 400 houses for sale in just Greeley, Colorado, just this town of 110,000 people, whatever. Now we're at 118, and people are freaking out because our inventory increased by 4%, right? Or 9%. If you look at what it was before, our inventory has to increase 100%, maybe 200% to get to a market that was somewhat more normal, but still going up in price. It's just crazy. And new listings here, nothing too crazy there, pretty similar to what it has been. So it's not like there's any big changes there at all. Percent of original list price, you can see here, 2012, well, that data's hard to say, but you can see routinely well below list price was what properties actually sold for. 2014, it got close. Again, prices were still going up here, and we're, way up here. And then this is also interesting too. Dollar per square foot price is crazy how much that has changed. So overall, you can kind of see, yes, this is my specific market in Colorado. Some YouTube channels are calling Colorado one of the most overpriced, overvalued markets in the country that's about to crash soon. And you can see, yes, our prices have gone up, but everything else is still so low that indicates what prices might actually do. And it'd be really cool to see. I wish they went back to the housing crash to show what month's supply of inventory really was, because it was like a year, right? It was a year, way more houses for sale, way longer days on market. It was just crazy. And to get back to that point where we saw a housing crash and prices drop, we literally have to have 500% increases in inventory across the nation, like something crazy like that. And right now the real estate market is still extremely solid. It's not even close to normal, right? It's on the other side of normal, still a seller's market. We're still selling houses. I listed a house actually as an agent. I very rarely do that, just for friends and family. We had 3 offers the first day. It's going to sell for $80,000 over list price. We've listed other flips. They're going under contract right away. Showings like crazy. There's still people buying. Interest rates have not killed the real estate market. In my opinion, maybe it's slowing down a tiny bit, but slowing down is not the same thing as a crash or even a correction. It just means we're getting slightly closer to normal, but still not even at normal yet. So looking at the stats, looking at the data, and ignoring the scary headlines, I just don't see how the real estate market can go down unless something crazy happens. Building is not increasing significantly. We don't have an influx of houses coming on the market. It's just hard to say. And I will look at, this is my favorite stat. Let's say new builds completed. Make sure you do completed, not under construction, because it takes so long to build a house now. Oh, that was 5 units or more. There we go. Found it. Okay. New privately owned housing units completed total units. You can see it's slowed down again, right? They were creeping up, and then boom, higher interest rates tend to slow building down because it gets more expensive. They're still building less than 1997, than 1998. They're building less than the 80s here when interest rates were crazy high. We're still building less properties. We're building less in the 70s. We're building less in the early 70s when interest rates were crazy. And all this time, the population has increased significantly. And yes, some houses still exist, but many are torn down. Many are changed to commercial. Many are abandoned. So there just aren't enough houses being built. And there's no massive increase in housing coming anytime soon when we look at completed. If you look at under construction, that number keeps increasing because it keeps taking longer and longer to build houses. And builders have stopped building houses too because interest rates went up. Construction costs have gone up. And so even though they have a permit to start that house, they're not actually building it because they're waiting. And a permit counts as a housing start, counts as a house under construction, even though it might be just a dirt lot. Okay, that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you guys for watching. Love to hear your comments. Love to hear what you think. Love it when you share my information as well. And yeah, we'll have more videos, more information coming up on housing market, housing trends, what's happening here. And if things do start to change, hey, I'll talk about that too. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know for sure what will happen. But based on the data I'm seeing, I just don't see this crazy change that a lot of other people are proclaiming has to happen 100%. All right, take care. We'll be back soon.